All right, back with another couple of tables of 5NL Zoom. Let's see how we get on today. I have played a bit today that I didn't record, and I'm up a couple of buy-ins. Let's see if I can add to that or whether I can subtract from that this evening. Do the same as usual, 300 hands. Videos last about 35 minutes or so. Some are a little bit longer. No action with the nines. From the big blind, smallish, not small raise, but not a full 3x. We'll call in position with King 8. Flop, nothing. It's a very small bet, but early in the session, absolutely no hand whatsoever. We'll just let it go. Queen deuce of diamonds, getting a ridiculously good price with a ridiculously crap hand. 7.4 to 1, I guess for that price we have to call. Starting to see some familiar names. This guy Elvis Genius, see him quite frequently. Ace 7 of hearts. Big blind will probably come along as well. And maybe this is a bit loose, but we'll call. Pretty obviously giving up. Disastrous board. So we're off to a fairly slow start. The opening few minutes in, nothing much happening. Session is only 30 hands old. See, this is the thing about playing online. You can play 30 hands in 3 minutes. 30 hands live is like an hour. If you can just get down like an hour's worth of trash. It's why I've never been that keen on playing live poker. It can just be very, very dull. We get called there and don't flop anything. We'll just go for a small C bet. And we're going to get called quite frequently on this. We could still have the best hand. He's going to have quite a lot of small pocket pairs. May have a queen. We'll check. Let's see what he does. I think for a bet that size, we kind of have to call. And over here, we're going to go for a big bet on this board. So apparently there's a lot of fours in these decks. He can have an 8, he can have a couple of clubs, he can have hands like 5, 6. I think we're going to check back and call a lot of rivers. That's a really poor card. And he blasts. I think a lot of the time we're just going to be looking at an 8. I think people, if they have missed clubs, just tend to give up. But when we check back the turn, it's pretty obvious what we've got. But I'll, for the most part, assume people tend to be on those kind of boards fairly value heavy, as they tend to be in general. People bet big, they do tend to be pretty value heavy. So we'll get off to a pretty poor start here. But it's all going to change. No, it's not all going to do. I said we're going to flop a flush there, but we're not. Okay, Jack 10 in position. We'll go for the call. If he checks again, we will bet. Could have bet the flop. certainly can bet the flop, and no, I think we bet. I think we probably have to bet twice. I think if he has ace high, he's going to be calling a lot here. So he doesn't. Another familiar face up there, Namtastic. There's also a guy called, is it Friedman? He's got the little kings by his name, meaning he's played loads of hands. See him playing very frequently. More or less every time I play, he seems to be playing. 7-8, pretty junky hand, but closing the action, going to have to call. Not exactly getting the flop so far. We'll go for a 3-bet here with ace queen. This is a smidge loose because under the gun raises are going to be relatively tight, so this might be a little bit ill-advised. Do get called. And I think we're just going to go for a half pot bet. Get called. I think he's going to have nine's not a great card. Pocket nines is a possibility. He's going to have like tens, jacks. I don't know whether we just try and blast away here. I just don't want to try and blast and get people to fold those types of hands. Whether we're better off just taking a free card and seeing if we can hit an ace or a queen, which we don't. Yeah. With the ace of spades in our hand, it just takes out some of the draws he can be doing it with. I'm assuming that this is just going to be a pocket pair most of the time. But we might want to experiment a little bit with some more double barrels. I just think that post-flop people are often quite sticky with those pairs like tens and jacks in that spot, and you can end up just blasting off. And you're best off just waiting till you actually do have an overpair to blast away. Plus, he was under the gun, which means his range is going to be a bit stronger than it would be in other areas. And slightly loose open, but we'll go for the c-bet with king six of spades. 3-bet the queens, and if he 4-bets, we will probably just be getting this in. Guy to our immediate left bangs it in, doesn't even think we will have to call this. We do have the best hand right now. We're getting off at 60. Oh, we'll gamble, we'll gamble. He cashed out. I wonder what they offered him for that. But I think we can tag that guy as perhaps a bit of a whale. Not only did he dump it all in with a hand that he really shouldn't be doing, but he then cashed out. So that was a bit of a gift. In position here, the blinds might come along as well. 9-10 off, little loose, but I do tend to like to play when I'm in position with hands that have kind of what I would think of as nut potential. You can make a good stream, make some straights with 9-10. And now we just get out of the way for relatively cheap. I tag people who aren't playing a full stack. I'm aware I do it myself, but in general, players that do it are weaker. Whether or not I include myself in this or not, I don't know. And this time we'll go for a check back with the ace queen. It's a really crummy board again. We're just going to try and get to a showdown. We could have the best hands. Not a very good river either. Just hope that we're good. And we are king three. See, there's some very, very weird play. Limping in with king three, calling the raise, and then just passively checking down. It's strange play. Min raise under the gun with ace seven of clubs. We'll call. Hope some people come in behind us, but not for a squeeze. If you're going to get squeezed a lot, then you can't really be doing this. But you're not going to get squeezed as much as you perhaps ought to. Queen Jack here will be a fold. Yeah. Although I'm going to pause just for a second, just to see if I can potentially see what people are doing this with. Seven, eight off, a little bit too weak, I think. We do flop an ace, but it's not something we want to write home about. I think we'll just go for a small bet, and if we get a lot of resistance, we'll give up, but we get none. Five of diamonds, loads of people limping in, and we make up, and a 7x raise. We are seeing some really weird play so far in this session. With just a 9 high flush draw on a paired board, I don't think I really feel the need to get involved here. A 5x raise and a call in second position. This is some, again, it's very unusual. So we get 3-bet. We've got king 10 of spades against a guy who doesn't have much of a stack. Is this a call or not? I think it probably is. But, 6x raise, weird. On the other hand, maybe it's not. Maybe we don't need to call with this. We can just wait for better spots. It's in theory definitely a call, I think, but you know what? Actually, I'm just going to fold. We can be a little bit more selective. It seems to me that there's quite a lot of very odd play going on, so hopefully we won't need to take too big a risk to try and win some chips. Queen 8 off. Yeah, just about strong enough to defend. Check back. And we get 3-bet. We've got jacks. I don't think it's a hand we really want to 4-bet. We're under the gun. He's on the button, so we tend to have a fairly strong range when we raise from here. Whether or not he knows that, I don't know. We'll call. And I'll bet small on the left. We have a fairly easy check call here. We could have the best hand. We do have a gut shot. We'll just take a second here and we will call. Really bad turn card. Ace King now beats us. In fact, we really don't beat a whole hell of a lot at this point, and when he bets that big, we're going to have very little choice but to fold. We get a bad card over here on the river, and he just donks out for pots, so we'll have to fold. So thus far, it's not been a session where we've had a huge amount of cards. We won the one hand with queens. Other than that, I don't think we've really won much of a hand. Jack 7 of hearts in position. We will call. Again, get a really lousy flop, but getting pretty much exclusively seemingly high cards on the board when our opponent's just going to have a lot more high cards than we are. We're up against the same guy on both tables. There's not much we can really do with Jack 7. King 10, okay, and we'll go for a big bet. wish them to have a lot of aces here. Get called. Fucking hell. Not working out well for us at the moment. Fantastic tends to like. So here we're going to go relative. We'll just go half pot. We can go fairly small. And he immediately throws it away. Unfortunately for us, the guy gives up. Guess he just had a couple of clubs that didn't hit. Queen five. So he calls a queen five and then doesn't bluff. That's interesting play. That's the type of hand that when I think if you play at higher limits, just won't happen. There's no way a better player is going to just completely give up with a hand like queen five there, knowing that it's basically got no showdown value. So we've got kings again. So having whinged that I wasn't getting many cards, Pokerstars has heard me. And what is the matter with this fucking thing? Every time we have kings, there's a bloody ace on the flop. Do we bet small? I guess we just bet really small. He's going to have an ace quite a lot, but he's also going to have hands like queen jack. So we'll just continue to bet small. Oh, great, 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 great. Oh, what a pain in the ass. We're betting small, just trying to get value from the queen. And then he goes and does this. I mean, we've also got the king of diamonds. So this is just a really, really shit board. Frustrating, but we're going to have to fold. Can immediately 3-bet with the ace 10 off. When people have this, like he's played 5,000 real money hands, you can probably conclude that they're a slightly better player. I don't know. I don't actually know how true that is, but I would assume that it probably is. I think myself, I've got like, I could have pocket tens above my name, meaning I've paid like, I don't know, 900,000 hands or something. Okay, 9 high flush draw here. If I had an overcard to the queen, I would definitely raise this, but without it, we're just going to. And actually, I could have led there if I'd thought about that. That might have been a spot to lead. And I guess now we want to bet large. I don't think he ever checks back about a hand on the turn, so we have the best hand here, and we'll go for a big bet. And he just immediately folds. When he immediately folds, it's likely that he just didn't have anything at all. I don't think he folds a queen, or at least he doesn't fold a queen that quickly. I think he would at least give it some thought. And ace 10 out of position. We'll go for a 3-bet from the small blind. Whoops. Yeah, 11's fine. Raise min 3-bet. We have ace queen of hearts. I guess we're just cool. And not connect. We get a queen on the turn, so I guess we can go ahead and check it again. Not a huge amount of reason to bet, I don't think. Can we go for very small value here? It's not a great river. Not sure what I can get value from. I think if we bet a third pot, we can always fold to a raise. Yeah, that was immediate. That was already kind of stupid. I'm not quite sure what I can get value from. Maybe queen 10. He immediately just bangs in a raise. Don't think it's ever a bluff. Okay, so we get the open ender on the left. Against half pot, against a third pot, I would have raised. Against half pot, I'm going cool. And I'd like the 8 of spades, please. So we get the 5 of spades. And interesting river card. I think we can now just check it. No need to turn this into a bluff. We can't possibly value bet it. Queen 4. Interesting. And we'll just go for half pot with the aces. So we've actually had some 157 hands. We've had kings twice, queens once, aces once, I think. But Pot's not really going our way. So 3x raised on the button from a guy playing a just over half stack. King ten of hearts, I think a very, very straightforward call. Another flop that we don't hit. And this guy decides to squeeze. I think we're just going to, and here we're going to fire at half pot. We're going to 4-bet and we're going to get it in if he wants to. Okay. Here, I guess we have to bet. Like he's going to have plenty of like ace queen, king queen kind of hands that can't call. So I think if we've got half pot, we'll get those to fold. It works out. Another big pocket pair, so queens this time. Quite a small 3-bet. Not quite sure what to make of that. Can certainly argue for a 4-bet here. I don't know whether a smaller 3-bet is stronger or weaker. Again, I'm going to have to play more to figure this kind of stuff out, but we will just go for the call. Yeah, interesting board. We do this time at least have an overpair. He continues to bet small. I'm very quite interested to see what this hand is. Whether this is somebody just going small with a very, very strong hand, whether I'm just getting milked here by aces or kings. But we're basically just going to cool down. And certainly we're going to have to cool down on that river. Oh, I fear I'm getting milked, but what can I do? Yeah. It's frustrating that playing the way these stakes play, there's so little bluffing and ranges are so tight that it makes it play kind of weird. Like there's just aren't that many bluffs in people's ranges. People are playing quite face up. So his small 3-bet pre-flop there was pretty much sort of what I alluded to, which was he just does a small 3-bet with a very strong hand because he wants to keep somebody in. But he could have really there. He should be having my stack. You know, kings versus queens in a three, 6-handed game. What was that? Cut off against button. Cut off against big blind. Really, I think probably he should be winning my stack. He checks back here. We're going to fire the turn with the best hand most of the time. He immediately raises. It's very, very strange. I don't think he ever checks back a set on the flop. So when he does this, pocket sixes or king queen are a possibility. Could have spades. I guess we have to call. And here, I guess we'll call with the 8. A pot size bet. Again, I'm going with the idea that when people just start piling the chips in like that, very rarely will someone take that particular line with a bluff. But maybe I need to start calling more in some stages just to see whether or not I'm right. Perhaps I'm giving people, if you like, too much credit. Go very small here with the queen. We get check raised. Right. We've gone really small, so this could be a bluff, but also this could just be a queen with a better kicker, but we're obviously just not going to fold. We're going to be just calling down. I have a feeling, and it's not a good one, that we might need a 10 on the river, but we have to call. Well, when he checks now, so what we're going to do here is we're going to go for a very small bet. See if now he could have a better hand than us. We're going to do this because if he is bluffing, we're just going to try and induce him to go crazy. Here with the ace king, we're just going to shove. And he didn't go crazy, didn't go for it. But it shows you that sometimes my thinking is not right, that he obviously was bluffing. Our very small flop bet caused him to then check raise and then fire the turn. So maybe people have a few more bluffs than I'm giving them credit for. So after a flurry of activity, we've had a little bit of a lull again. And I haven't done a 4-bet bluff for a while. We're going to go for one here. It's quite a large 3-bet. I'm going to be a good boy. Play it tight. Large 3-bet. It's really way too large for us to call with a hand like Jack 9 of diamonds. If he makes it like 9 or 10, we can call. So a couple of jacks on the left in the small blind. And a fairly easy raise, easy 3-bets. And if we get 4-bet here, I think we have to go with it. Button against small blind. Don't think we can really ever. Yeah, unfortunately, I think we are going to have to go with this. Don't love it, but don't see that we have much choice. We're very high up, and often we're going to run into a better pair. Not much we can do about it. Okay, 88.8, 56.8%. I think we cash out. There we go. Fortunately for us, our cautiousness helps us. I don't know what we start. I think we started the hand with, so we actually won chips on the hand. I'm hoping that he has 3-bet quite a lot here. Didn't shock me that he had a hand like Ace King. I was hoping maybe he had some 4-bet bluffs in him and that we could just pick it up pre. But I do prefer cashing out. I just like the fact that it reduces the variance and sort of an experience of getting drawn out on a lot. Anyone else has had that? When you get drawn out on a lot and someone offers you like a percentage of the pot that looks fair, may seem a bit feeble, but I don't mind taking it. 9s here against under the gun raise. I think that calling is fine. Oh, okay, this guy now goes all in. Didn't actually notice he only had 24 big blinds. And a disappointing flop with our 9s. Basically just giving up. And middle pair with our Jack 10, which we will check and fold here. Now I think we can put in a bet. Doesn't have to be huge. Half pot seems reasonable. Would anticipate we have the best hand here a lot. I don't think the guy behind me is going to have a queen too much, so we're going to be checking. If he bets, I think we have to check call. Ace 4 gets there. But I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what he's kind of saying he's got here. Hand like King Queen, maybe. But I think enough draws miss, so we've got a call. Yeah. That didn't make to me. That just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. When people get checked to on the flop and they have a queen, I don't think enough people check back top pair. So that's why I call. And call in position here with ace 5. And we've got plenty of showdown value here with ace 5, so I don't see any real reason to bet it. We'll check it back. Oh dear, we've probably just slow play. Would he ever bet here with like king high, or is this always just going to be a 10? I think it's going to be a 10 a lot, but yeah, that was disappointing. Maybe we could bet the turn there just to protect our hand. So Johnny Bravo calls our flop bet, and spades get there on the turn. You could also have hands like 8, 9, 9, 10. So we're not definitely. So we could be good here. I think if he had a 7, he would probably bet it. I think if he had has like 8, 9, 9, 10, he'd probably bet himself. But we've got some showdown value, so let's just check. Pocket 5, sorry. Don't think we get him off that. About another 40 hands or so. It's been I don't know, there's not been any particularly big pots, but I think there's been some interesting stuff. It'd be interesting to see how many mistakes I make if you were to plug my play into a solver, just how inaccurate most of what I do is. And we'll go for 3 bet here with 9, 10 of clubs. The button raises are sort of, at this stage, almost obligatory. People make small raises on the button, and I find that if you 3 bet from the small blind, it's amazing how rarely the button continues, how successful that play is. You could 3 bet from the small blind a huge amount against button opens. That may be pretty obvious, but it's a play that I think you probably just don't see enough, given how successful it seems to be. Raised up king jack, we get called. Flop middle pair. I think this is a very good candidate just to check back. It's a large bet. Clearly, this weights him more towards an ace, but he can have hands like queen 10. There's plenty of just random bluffs, so we certainly can't check back the flop and then fold. Small river bet reeks of I want my value for my ace nothing. Can he have queen jack? Jack 10 does get there. It's getting awfully optimistic to believe that we have the best hand here. I think we just have to fold. Ace king here on the right. Certainly going to have to call. Drawing to the nuts. Ace or king may be good as well. And we don't get there. We have some showdown value with ace high. I don't know what we're going to get to fold. It'd be nice if we have a hand like jack nine. 9-7 of diamonds. It's not really been our session for hitting flops. King four clubs will call here. We do get a flush draw this time. Decide to check back, as we often do, keeping the pot small, and hit a king. He goes for a tiddly little bet, which I don't see any reason to do anything other than just call. And we'll be calling pretty much all rivers. It's not a great one. That's a really crappy card. And here we're definitely going to bet our fives. It's a pretty good board for fives if you're not going to catch five. He overbets. I really think we can't call now. Fives. I think again we have to check this back as well. Nice to the five in the river, which we don't. I'm just going to have to fold. Here then, I guess now we bet. This is what we would bet if we had an ace. Just trying to get him to fold a king. He could also have heart. We could have the best hand, but I think we do have to bet to try to get him to fold a king. So I'm not convinced he will. About another 10 more hands or so, and then we'll call it a session. And we get a pretty good flop. We'll go for a little different play. We'll go for a check this time. And we'll go for another check. Now I guess we have to bet. I think we'll just bet half pot. When he plays that fast, like check, 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 that must be like a small pocket pair or maybe like a 7-8 suited a hand like that. All right, we'll sit out next big blind on both tables. We get snap min 3-bet on the right. Like I've said, I have no clue what this is. So I guess for the purposes of the video, it might be a good idea to do this. I have no idea whether this is strong or whether this is just complete nonsense. I guess we will find out. Ace King definitely a shove. Ace Queen not in love with it, but I think we'll go for it. 5-6, so it is nonsense. And for the purposes of the video, we will just run it. Bad turn, but a good river, and we do hold up. So we've got another hand to come. Is that it? No, one more. Another one. Okay, 7 suit. And for a small raise, yeah, go on then. We'll call this. We'll call, see if we can get an exciting hand to finish the video. Well, as flops go, it's not the most exciting one I've ever seen. I'll just give it up. All right, so we are up a whopping 65 cents, which is what? I mean, how many big blinds? That's 13 big blinds. So, okay, so 13 big blinds over the course of about 300 hands. You know, it's 4 big blinds or so per 100. It's not too bad. and we'll call that session. As I say, if anyone's still watching, thank you very much. Take care. Bye bye.